Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be showing you all how to make the simple React weather app. So for this, we'll be using the Open Weather Map API and React. So this is how the website is going to be like. So we can enter a city name. So we can do Houston. And if we search for it, it'll give us the temperature, what it feels like, the low today, the high today, and the current description of the weather. So there are a few clouds outside right now. We can also do another city. Let's do Sydney, Australia, and if we search it up, it'll tell us the temperature, what it feels like, the low, high, and the weather. Alright, so today in this video we'll be learning how to make this. Alright, so for this tutorial we will be using the Open Weather Map API. This is free, but you will need an account. So if you don't have one yet, just create one with the link in the description. But if you do, just click sign in up here and sign into your account. Once you've signed in, click on API keys, which is right here. Now your API key should be right here, but if yours doesn't show up, then generate one, but make sure it is active right here under the actions. Now just copy this and keep it somewhere safe because we will be needing it later. Now the next thing that you need to install is Node.js. I will have a link to this in the description as well, but we will be using Node to install React. Alright, so what I've done here is I've just created a folder and I've opened it with VS Code, and in this folder we will be installing React and we will be writing our code. So what you want to do is you want to open up the terminal and you want to type in npm create v at latest. This sets up v. So let's just click Y if it says need to install the following packages. For my project name, I'll just name it React Weather Tutorial, and we will be using React. So use the down arrow keys and select React, and we will be using JavaScript. So now just go ahead and copy these commands right here. So Control C, Control V, and this might take a while, so I will come back when it's installed all of the things I need. Okay, so it's just finished installing all of the necessary packages and everything I need. So if you see up here, it'll actually make a folder called React Weather Tutorial, which is what we named it, and in here we will have everything that we need. Alright, so let me just close this terminal right here. So first let's actually go ahead and delete all of the unnecessary like files we don't need, right? So open up public v.svg, right click this and delete it. Go ahead and open up your source, go to assets and delete this react.svg. And now I will be keeping all of the CSS in the app.css because like for tutorial sake, but if you want you could change this to style your web page however you want. I will also be coming over to JSX. I'm going to delete everything here and I'm going to type the command RFCE and then click enter. Now what I did was just set up a simple React JSX function. So React actually uses functions instead of just regular HTML because it's using JSX, right? But if the command RFCE doesn't work for you, you want to make sure that you've got it installed. So just search up React and it should be the first one. So it should be this one right here. So install this, and if you type RFCE, it should pop up for you. Alright, so now let's actually go on over to our localhost and see this display app. So go over to your browser and in the search box type localhost :5173 because that's what we're running on. And if we go to it, as you can see, it'll render app, which is right here. So if we change this to hello, it'll render hello. So let's actually just have it say React Weather App. So let's put a div, and inside a div we'll put an h1 that says React Weather App. Nice. Now under this, let's actually make the form like the form that we need. So the inputs for the city name and the submit button. So under here I'm going to put another div, and in this div I'm going to put an input. I'm going to put an input, and let's go in here, set the type to be text, the placeholder to be enter city name. So let's save it and have it right here. Now let's also add a button. And inside here I'll just I'll just type search. Alright. So as you can see, we have our simple form set up right here. So now we're gonna actually start like handling the inputs and everything. For this, we're gonna need to talk about use state. So what is use state? Well, in React, use state is a way for us to set a state variable, and the state variable can have a string, a number, a boolean, an array, a list, whatever you want. So for this, we're gonna go under our function, and I'm gonna leave a couple of spaces here actually, and we're gonna do const, and then we're gonna put brackets input, and set input is going to be use state, and in here we'll just put an empty text. Also, you want to make sure that you have imported state. So after this import React, just put a comma in the curly brackets and then use state. Nice. So as you can see, our web page has came back. So now let's actually make it so that once we like start typing, it'll set the input. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to first set the value of what we see right here to be the current state right here. So right when you first open up the website, it would be blank because we haven't typed anything. So we'll just set the value to be input, and after this we'll put on change. So like once we type or change something, we'll put curly brackets. We're gonna make a function and we're going to give it e, which is event, and this is gonna be a simple arrow function. And what we're gonna do is we're going to set the input to be e.target.value. Nice. Now that we have this, if we refresh here and if we start typing, you see it'll show up. It's gonna show up right here. Nice. Now if we did not have this on change, so let me just comment it out, what would happen is, as you can see, I'm typing but it's not showing up because the text in here is still blank. But if we were to remove this blank and if we were to have it, let's say city name, as you can see, it'll have city name right here, but I can't delete it or do anything. So let's just keep this blank and let's uncomment this code right here. Nice. So we've got our input working. Alright, so we've got our input working, but now let's actually start fetching the data from our Open Weather Map API. So in the like right under the state variable that we declared up here, let's make a function const get weather data. It's going to be an asynchronous function, and we are going to, in here, we're going to first, let's actually check if the input field is blank. So this way the user can't just like put random like nothingness. Also let's also make two more state variables. So the next one, we're gonna set it as city and set city, and this is just going to be a use state of blank. And under here, let's also make another one. Let's call this error and set error, and we'll set this as a use state. We'll just put some quotation marks in there. We'll be using this to display if there's any errors, right? Such as if the user left the input field as blank. So let's check actually. So we'll do if document dot get element by ID. Also let's set an ID to this input. So I'm gonna do ID is equal to input, right? And we got an error. Hold on a minute. Let me see what I did here. ID is, oh, I see what the problem is. We just haven't like done anything here. So we'll get the ID of input, and we will go ahead and get its value. So we'll do input. So we'll be document.get element by ID input dot value is equal to blank. So if the value that we got from the input is blank, then we are going to set the error, which is right here. So we're going to set the error, and we're going to make it say, please enter city. So if the user does leave it blank, then it's going to say, please enter city. Right, and let's also return nothing, so our code doesn't run into any errors. So now let's actually start fetching our data. So in the description below, I'm gonna have the web endpoint for the Open Weather Map API. So just copy it. So I'm just gonna copy it and just keep it in your clipboard. And under here, we're gonna put const request request is equal to await, because we are awaiting fetch. Put quotation, no, don't put quotation marks, put backticks, and in here paste the command or the line of code that I have in the description. So it should have all this right here. Also, where it says enter your own data, just double click this, delete it, and copy and paste your own weather map, Open Weather Map API key. So we'll do app ID is equal to my own API key right here. Also, you want to make sure that it's actually private. Nice. So now, after we have fetched this, we are going to get the data. So we're going to do const data is going to be an await of request.json. So once this gets fetched, we're gonna set it to the data right here. And now we're gonna check if there's any problems with the data. So we're gonna do if data.cod. This cod is just the code that gets returned with the data. So it could be 200 or 404 or whatever, right? So if the data status code is not equal to 200, 200 just means okay, and we got the data successfully. So if it is not this, then we are going to set the error to be error fetching data, please try again. Nice. So now now that we have this, we can hold on a minute. Yeah, we can also just set the city data to be nothing. So we will just set city. Oh, also this is supposed to be city data, not just set city, right? Also change this, so we'll just city data. Set city data to be blank. All right. So now let's do else. So if the if the status code is 200, then we are going to just set the city data to be the data that we got right from here. And now after we do that, we will set the error to be nothing because there is no error. Also, we can actually visualize and see the data that we get from this, but we will be doing that later. Nice. So now let's actually run this command or this function after we click the search button. So come over to the search button and type on, click, and we're going to do get weather data. So if we save this, and right under the else and the set city data, we're gonna do console.log data, so we can actually see the data that is being returned, right? So let's go over to our website, refresh the page. I'm gonna open up the inspect right here. If we go to the console, and let's just set a city name. Let's do Houston. If we click search, hold on a minute, it is giving us an error. Where is this at? This is on line 16. Don't worry guys, things like this happen. Oh yeah, right. Instead of this being city, we gotta make it input because because what the user put, we're gonna call that, right? So let's just refresh the page and let's do Houston. If we search it up, let's open up our console. As you can see, we get no errors except for this. Don't worry about this. But if we open up this this little object thing we got, it'll give us all of this information. So if we go to the main, it'll give us the temperature of Houston, the maximum temperature, and the name and everything. So let's try a different one. Let's do Kathmandu. That's in Nepal. It'll give us the data for Kathmandu. Hold on a minute. Let me just erase all of this. Let me search for it again. Yep, it'll give us the one for Kathmandu, and if we go to main, it'll give us all of this data right here. So we got the data to be set right, so it's working completely fine. But now let's make it so that instead of searching it up and it shows up in the console, it actually shows up right under here. So this is actually pretty simple, but for this we will need the console to be open because we need to see how to like get the data that's in these objects. So let's go over to our code editor. Let's go on over to our return, and right under the search, let's actually let's do some conditional rendering. So what is conditional rendering? Well, conditional rendering is a way to just render things if a value meets a certain criteria. So we can do if actually let me just show it right here. So we can do let's do 1 is equal to 1 question mark. So if 1 is, hold on a minute. Okay, actually wait, this is a really bad example. Don't mind what I just did. Let's just do the conditional rendering to just render all the information here. So under the search, let's add 2 curly brackets, and let's do city data, and if the error is equal to none. So we're checking, does the city data exist? So do we have data for this state variable right here? And we're also checking if the error is equal to nothing. So if this is true, question mark, let's add one parenthesis here, and under here let's do let's add a div, a div, and hold on. Okay, right here after these after this parenthesis right here, add a colon and type null. This just means that if the city data and the error is like not like, so like this is just checking if these criteria don't meet, then we're just gonna do nothing. So in these in this div right here, let's add a h2, and in this h2 let's actually add the name of the city that we got. So we'll do 2 curly brackets, and in here we'll do city data dot, now let's check how to actually get it. So let's open up our console, and we can see that we can just go open up city data, and we can click the name, or we can get the name. So we'll just do city data dot name. If we save this, as you can see, Kathmandu will show up. So if we search up a different city, let's do Sydney. Sydney will show up right here. Nice. Now let's actually also make it show up the country, right? So same thing, we will be getting the object, so city data dot sys dot country. This is just getting the country. As you can see, AU, which is in the Australia. Okay. Now under here, let's actually add a bunch of h2. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this a bunch of times. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because we're going to be putting the data for like a lot of things that we get from the API. So in the first one, let's do temperature, and this is the same as that. So we'll just be getting the city data dot main dot temp, and as you can see, it shows up right here. Now let me just show you that it's actually there. So this object right here would be our city data, and we are going into the main, which is right here, and in here we're gonna go to temp, which is right there. So yeah, 69.44 right here. Nice. Let's also get the other datas. So let's also get like what it feels like. So we'll do feels like. Now this is actually in the same main. So we'll do city data dot main dot feels underscore like. If you save this, it'll show up right here. Now let's do one for the low today. Low today. We'll do 2 curly brackets, the same, and we'll do city data dot main dot temp underscore min. And for the high today, let's do the same. Let's just do city data dot main dot temp underscore max. If we save this, as you can see, all of the data is showing up, and looks like I made a typo. It's supposed to be today, not toda. Now in the last H2, let's just add the weather. So we'll do, hold on a minute, weather, 2 curly brackets, and in here we'll do city data dot weather in brackets 0 dot description. Now how does this work? Well, let's open up our console. So if we go on over to city data, which is this object right here, dot weather, which is right here, as you can see, it is actually like an array, and arrays start at 0. So we are getting the 0 of the array, which is all this data right here, and we're gonna get the description of it, which is the description in broken clouds. So that's basically what that code does. So yeah, now let's actually, like, if there is an error, let's just have it display the error. So under right here, under everything, we'll make 2 spaces. Let's do parentheses again. Not parentheses, curly brackets, and in here let's do error. So if there is an error, then we're gonna make an H2, and we're going to, in here, we're gonna put the error. But if there is no error, then we'll just set it as nothing, no. So let's actually like get an or make an error. So let's enter a city name that doesn't exist. Bob. I'm pretty sure that's not a city name. If you search for it, it'll say error fetching data. Please try again, because the status code was not 200, and we can actually see this if we open up the console. As you can see, it gave us an internal server error of 500. And this is definitely not 200, so it's giving us an error. So now let's just keep this blank and not type anything. If you click search, it'll say please enter city. So now let's actually enter a city that exists. Let's do San Francisco. I do hope I'm spelling that right. Search, and yep, it works. So yeah, if you do want the GitHub for this, I'll have it in the description. But thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and also comment what I should make next. Thank you. Bye.